Hello and welcome to this video on using that beer kit you will get for Christmas. Beer kits are the main way people are introduced to brewing their own, and while they are an abomination, you need to start somewhere. They are easily identified by the packet of stale yeast taped to the lid of a can full of malt extract and hop flavoring. This video will give you the short and easy way to make one, and how to improve it with just a few small changes. All grain brewing is the most pure form of beer production, but it is not a good idea for mass-produced products, or a shelf-stable, easily made at-home kit like these. That is why kit beers start at this stage, transferring the wort to the fermenter. This skips malting, milling, boiling, and cooling of your wort, a lot of the production steps that give beer some of its distinctive flavors and appearances. The upside to this is that kit beer is harder to get wrong. It has the right ratios, right ingredients, and right yeast. It is commercially practical, easily stored, and long-term stable. Kit beer is fundamentally a ration pack of beer ingredients that you assemble yourself. Assuming that you have received or purchased one of these and have been able to jump over many of the steps that come earlier in the beer producing process, this video is for you. Begin by assembling all of your equipment: a fermenter, airlock, glucose, malt, wheat or similar, your beer kit, water, yeast, a kettle or pot and stove, and the various sanitizing and stirring equipment you would normally use for any brewing exercise. Sanitize these as appropriate and separate out your yeast from the kit. This is an appropriate time to take some advice from Linus Tech Tips by throwing away the manufacturer-provided yeast, just as you would manufacturer-provided driver discs. They are both equally useless. Now that you have everything separated out, put your can of beer into a large pot with warm water, or the lowest setting of a stove. This induction plate had a convenient milk warming setting. This should sit for between 10 and 30 minutes depending on the size and heat setting. While the beer kit full of malt warms up, put 2 liters of hot water into your fermenter. This can be more or less as desired, but ensure it is about 60 degrees Celsius. Pitch your glucose into this as per most kit instructions. This is also the first opportunity to deviate from the instructions and improve your beer from a can. Add an appropriate substitute such as malt. In this case, we are making a wheat beer, and so added 50% wheat and 50% glucose. Stir this into the water until it is dissolved, or close to. This adds a little bit of complexity to the very basic contents of the can, which leads to a relatively big change in the final product. Although we will never achieve the same level as this bottle of beer from a commercial brewery, based on the contents of a kit, we can substantially improve it. Now that your fermenter has both water and the basic fermentable products present, you can go back to the can of malt extract and hop flavor. The can should be opened up and poured into your fermenter, which is made easier by heating the contents. As you will find when the can is opened, the malt extract is less viscous when warmed and readily flows, just like the spice. Do be mindful to make sure you have a can opener on hand. As we recently found out, they can often go missing. Wash the can out with more water and pour all of this into your vessel. Stir this into the fermentable mixture of glucose and malt, or in this case, glucose and wheat. Now that you have your basic fermentable mixture, top it up to a little under 20 liters with distilled water. Now you have two choices. Look for that yeast packet you threw away earlier, or go to your local homebrew shop that stocks a good variety of yeast and purchase one that is appropriate to your beer style. Assuming that this is your first attempt at brewing, you probably don't have the latter option, so tear open the stale yeast packet and add it to the fermenter and stir it so everything is moist and the yeast is revived. Add water to make it up to between 21 and 25 liters, or an average of 23 liters. Make sure to measure from here, not here. The foam will fall and add slightly to the volume, but overall the difference is negligible. Before you close the fermenter, make sure to measure the specific gravity. This is important, so don't skip over it. If you are feeling malicious and have an off cider, give them an alcometer instead of a hydrometer and tell them to take readings that should be between 1040 and 1020. When they can only get a measure between 0 and 100, explain to them what has happened. Now you can close the fermenter, add an airlock, fill the airlock with either pure water or, as is the case here, 90% alcohol. You will need to wait between 1 and 2 weeks for ale and up to 4 weeks for lager to finish fermenting. After this, you can cold crush, bottle, and carbonate to your liking. Thank you for watching this video. If you have found it interesting or useful, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please post any comments, questions, or suggestions below.